Okay, good evening, or good morning. India is good morning. In Tibetan or China, good morning. I think Australia also good morning. And American, good evening. Anyway, everybody set up the good motivation to benefit all sentient beings. 심지어 단체가 되게 사지적으로 어떠면서 예제되다 이 중요한 지금 예산에 그런데.
So with the motivation to obtain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings, we should listen to or engage in this particular exercise here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear this.
Other one is all?
You guys can hear all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, also I'm very happy to some students, Tibetan call Lulas, take picture. When we take pictures, the somewhere always there. Right? Then some students, since I come to here in United States, this center, I come here first in 2004, right? some students, when I come to US, I don't know, before, after that, since always teaching, 99% always there. Some students, senior students. This looks real study, real practice students. I'm very happy. I know some people, some students, when I come to here, then they should teach, then other people teach. They're always. This is very serious. They give good effort. They know something meaning, study Dharma or practice Dharma. Also, that after new people come in, everybody, usually who comes to Wednesday, I think this is, more serious students come to Wednesdays. Sunday, this is good, I don't know, more time, less tired. Wednesday, everybody walks, after job, they have to come here, then 2 hours stay there. It's very serious students come to weekdays. No, of course it is good who come to weekends, but maybe less tired, because after, work is also Sunday late, around 10 o'clock, they have more time to sleep before come to here. Now after you go back home also, they are more relaxed, nothing much to do. They will go to shopping. Usually weekdays, very hard to do. Study, meditation, come to here. Therefore, usually I think who comes to weekdays, this students, serious students, serious means good students, best, good attendance, right?
Yeah, good attendance.
Good attendance. I know this when I go to school. You never accept absent.
Absent.
They say good attendance. Anyway, I'm very happy to you guys, and to go to work, to carry a family, to go to understand the language, to go to understand also new texts, also new religion, everything is new, you guys. Just come to the United States. How many years? Tibetan Buddhism.
Maybe 50 years for that.
Yeah. It's very new. But Takkange Mambo Tandre. Kange Mambo Tandre. Tandre James. How much heart you have to, you can. Kale Mambo. Many people call it. Kale Mambo Tandre.
Tandre. Then you can Tang. I don't know. Lemba I know, but Tang.
You can accept. Accept many people call it.
Receive, yeah.
Accept, not receive.
Maybe receive.
Accept. Accept Lord Jivakot situation.
Yeah. So many difficulties are taken up or accepted.
Yeah.
Lemba means to take.
Yeah, lemba means to take. Means accept. Anyway. Kale Mongol Zopa.
Yeah, we can bear many difficulties.
But Jivakot means, first language, second new text, third everybody has a daily life, they have to go work, take care of their family, then fourth, 10, and this country is not much 10, right? Then still you guys really effort, try to best. This is really good. Although this is valuable for everybody. Then, also usually I always talk, maybe you guys a little bit, when I study, you guys, I know what you're talking about. Buddhism is not easy. You don't get very soon the result. You have to study eons, right? And the lives. Not easy. Also, they give a lot of job to think our mind. Sometimes.
Yeah, to recall or to remember. Like we have to keep things in mind, bearing things in mind.
Anyway. But very long goal, very long goal. Not just 1 life, not 2 lives, 3 lives, many lives. But everybody effort. Then you really understand, real serious practice. 100% you get the goal, result, right? Goal or result. Yeah. So, then I'm very happy to serious students to always here. Then sometimes we are very difficult tests, sometimes a little easy, sometimes very confused. But we can go to, when we go to road, sometimes very smooth road, sometimes a lot of bumps. The same, sometimes they call Buddhism as three. Buddhist scientist, number three.
Number three, yeah. Yeah, Buddhist scientist. Scientist Buddhist.
Yeah. I think the scientist Buddhism is investigation for us, everybody. They say, oh, bodhicitta, compassion is very good. Attachment, anger, hate is very bad. It's good or not, we can investigation, we can check. We're not checking the other missions, but we check our mind. This we call, I think, Buddhism centered. Centered Buddhism?
So the science of Buddhism.
Yeah. Then Tattva.
So maybe that's like philosophy. Tawa views usually Tattva.
Tawa is not Trunta.
Yeah, Trunta. So philosophy.
Maybe we say not exist anything inherently from their side.
Yeah, so this is like the philosophy of Buddhism. So the science of Buddhism and the philosophy of Buddhism.
And the numbers, Nabi Chambros, what? You go to the physical Buddha. You should hold a holiness, Dharma, combines three.
So maybe Nabi Chambro. Maybe religion of Buddhism or practice of Buddhism.
We develop confession, bodhicitta, refuge. This we have to develop our mind. They can't usually Buddhist. Then everybody believe through sentence, right? Everybody believes sentence. Then we have to something study sentence also in some Buddhism. Then not some, Buddha say, okay, give something job. If you doesn't do this, then you against Buddha. It's some part there, but not that. Against you, against you. Buddha said, don't be angry. If you're angry, you make yourself unhappy. The Ishwas Buddha says you against you. It's against Susu Sosola Kameton.
Susu Sosola
Kameton. Susu Sosola Kameton. Dupota. Yeah.
Like kind of afflicting oneself or I don't know, how do we say somebody's like kind of torturing themselves with their belief or whatever.
Anyway, Buddha said, don't be angry, right? If you're angry, Buddha, that doesn't cost Buddha, right? Ignorance, right? Buddha is not hearing all that. We don't see. When we angry, maybe we hit each other here. Maybe Buddha laughing at that. It doesn't cost Buddha. It costs for us. Our happiness, our joyous life.
Yeah, joyous life or happy life.
Then they cost for us, right? Therefore, what Buddha said, don't angry. He said, if you're angry, then you're unhappy. Also, they make unhappy your relatives. This is Buddha said that, then we check. Yes. Yeah, Buddha said that, but be angry, they make for us happy or unhappy. Everybody likes happy, right? No one likes suffering. But we always unhappy when it is happening. Therefore, we don't understand reality, exactly how we talk, how we think, how we show actions. When we angry, Then sometimes we talk, or other people talk for us, then we agree. Sometimes think, then we agree. Sometimes show funny actions, then they will, angry people, unhappy. Therefore Buddha teach to, how you talk, how you think, how you show action, how you, show, action.
How you act.
How you act, or how you act. Then, he said, if you doesn't do what I've said, that means it doesn't cost me, it costs you unhappy. Therefore we check it's true or not. This is a little bit general thing, was it general? General? I don't know. Shishi? Chishi.
General Dharma.
General Dharma. Then we go to little complicated checks here. Today we finish Jolam, right? We finish Jolam and Jolam both.
So we finished the path of accumulation and the path of preparation before, is that correct? So
okay.
Do we finish the, so we completed the, how are they? Okay, so we finished the I don't know how the English is translated here, but the path of ordinary beings, so the accumulation and preparation, we finished those. Is that correct?
Right? Yeah. Okay. What are they two? What's the first one? What's the second one? Anybody knows?
Anyone want to volunteer definitions?
Maybe not. Maybe just say names.
Yeah, just the names of them, and then he just told me the names. So if I tell them, I'll be giving you the answer. I just said them before. Yes.
Yeah.
Accumulation, tolam, and preparation, joy.
Okay. 나도 강사 뒤에가 민주를 삼아 남잖아 손을 잡았어.
Yeah, renunciation. So these beings, like, who generate renunciation within their continuum, enter the path of accumulation, right? Solam.
Yeah.
Solam shu.
Solam shu means what is that?
Enter the path of accumulation. Yeah.
Enter the path means and one march and you are march. But same thing.
So the yeah. So enter the path means to generate within one's own continuum. A particular mind within yourself is generated, which is what enter the path means, to generate a particular mind within yourself. So sem dila kare nejung.
Sem chik. The sem dana mobro. Sem mobro.
Yeah, sem mobro.
The little sem chik. Son mobro. It just.
In sem chik dela kare.
But they told me. In sem chik told me.
In sem chik dela di mo solam di mo bro.
But that they told me mo. Solam mo jealous.
Okay, so generating a particular mind within one's continuum creates the nature or the essence of the path of accumulation, and that nature or essence is renunciation. Right? 맞아, 깨달아.
고난이 되나? 이주로 일단 깨버렸어.
Okay, so
빼는 것이. 지난 게 만주절에 진주절에 대부분 또 별로요. 봐. 대부분 또 봐.
yeah.
일로 지나서 지절로 시 대부분 또 별로 뭐 말이야.
Okay, so he's saying like the mind, which is the nature of the path of accumulation, is generated within that individual at the moment that they enter the path. If, for example, he's giving, like when he holds the book up, you have a mind which realizes the book. Like it sees the book is there, and now you have a mind knowing that book. So there wasn't a mind knowing that book until he held it up or whatever, and you saw it, and then a particular mind which knows that book was generated in your own continuum. So in the same way, when the person generates renunciation, a bodhisattva, I don't remember the definition of all of this, but which becomes the fruit of its own, you guys remember these long definitions. Anyway, when a bodhisattva generates renunciation, they then have a mind, a particular mind, which is called the path, entrance into the path of accumulation.
conjoined, bodhicitta, then we call this Mahayana.
Okay, so that particular mind, the mind of renunciation, conjoined with bodhicitta, that's much simpler than the long definition. So if you have renunciation conjoined with bodhicitta, it's a Mahayana path of accumulation.
What is major?
So what is renunciation?
Renunciation said, Tawa tunduk, tawa tunduk, look,
Tawa tope.
tunduk, tawa tunduk, look, dopam mission.
Tawa tope dobe.
Tawa tunduk, look.
Yeah.
And that Chima minus. Musen Kadina. The Joyana. And it doesn't you us.
Okay, so
What Jimus Lero, Yemsen Kunda, Tawa Penny, Shuna, they simply you give a lot.
Okay. So the definition he is citing here is from the three principal aspects of the path. I can't remember the English of it off the top of my head, although I should know. But anyway, the mind which wishes to be free from the suffering of samsara is renunciation.
Tawa Tundu.
Tobedo.
Tawa Tobedo.
Yeah, the mind which wishes to attain liberation.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dharma, freedom. So,
this kind of day or not all the time.
yes, yeah, without interruption. Uninterruptedly wishing to achieve freedom is the mind of renunciation.
Even you have to sleep, you have to think about this. But not that kind, But they are some children to buy to us. This is Kadio, a class I could tell Maros. You could tell Maros and it was. Then Mares. Then I can also pull you power my cannot you cool your class higher than that. Already cannot be suited to the rock in the pool for that. Couple miles.
Yeah.
Right? They always think.
Yeah.
Same that.
So he's saying like this mind desiring to achieve freedom, when he says like desiring, uninterruptedly desiring, it's not like the type of desire when you want to eat some food or you want to go to sleep or something. That type of desire is like short-lived and you get whatever you want and it's past. He's talking about the example which he's given before in the past about a parent who has a child, and when the child is just born and the parent goes to sleep, even though the parent is sleeping, some small part of their mind is still on the child. There's like I guess if I were to just say it in terms of like Western psychology or whatever, there's a lowered threshold for attention to the child. So you notice, or you're always ready. There's a readiness to attend to that. So it's not like you're continually 100% wishing to achieve whatever with renunciation, but that part of your mind is always ready and kind of, on that object despite whatever else you're doing, if you're sleeping or eating or whatever.
Sometimes people say, I'm not intent to think this. I have to sleep, I have to eat, but not, they not say, don't eat, think about that, don't sleep, think about that, they not talk about this, okay? Then, now this kind of mind we call renunciation. Renunciation. If you have this kind of mind, then you are into the path. Then if this mind conjoined compassion, then you Mahayana. If it doesn't conjoin compassion, you enter the path, but it's not Mahayana, it is Hinayana path. It doesn't matter, Hinayana, Mahayana, if you enter the path, it's very good. Right? It is a path. Then we are saying, so that Dhamma force renunciation. Okay. Now Dhamma is Jolam restaurant. Jolam lapsai, Jolam. Then you badal ka Jolam lapsai.
Okay, so the first one is called the path of accumulation. So this is the description of the path of accumulation. Then the second one is the path of preparation, and we'll talk about that now.
Okay. Now, can you guys read that?
The definition of the path of Jolam. Yeah. So we've already finished describing the path of preparation. So he wants to go to the path of seeing. So he's asking if you guys can read the definition of the path of seeing. I don't know which text you guys are using.
It's okay. Eric, what page number?
I have an older version.
Wolfgang translation, 2004.
Hold on.
Mine's page 20, but I have an old version.
Your version? Can you say loud, right?
Yeah, whoever has a translation of it can find the definition of the Bodhisattva's path of seeing.
Yeah. Okay. Correct.
I want to make sure I'm reading the right one.
Yeah. Oh.
The first ground, uninterrupted path, which acts as the direct antidote to imputed grasping at true establishment as its measure of abandonment, is the definition of the first ground, uninterrupted path of seeing.
No, not Satango. One.
Before that, there should
Before that.
After preparation of
Pape Saitini. Okay, so it should be the definition of the Bodhisattva's Arya ground. So there should be just before that the definition of a Bodhisattva's Arya ground. Before the listing of the different grounds, there's a general definition. I found it in the Tibetan. I don't know if that helps. Let's see.
First ground, primordial awareness qualified by excelling perfection and generosity.
No.
Someone said page 38.
Oh, I see it, page
38 is the one on page 38.
Okay, can you write who's 38?
The one on page 38.
Yeah, maybe she got it. Look, she's new that she got it.
You guys have it? I have it in here in this English. I have a different English than you guys, I think.
Okay, we have. Can you read?
The definition of the path of seeing is a clear realization of the truth.
Okay, that's not a good translation. So I have here a different translation of just the root text, and it says here, the Arya Bodhisattva's ground is the Arya Bodhisattva's clear realization that is sustained by a wisdom directly realizing emptiness and by great compassion.
Yeah, this is correct.
And then after that,
That's what this says.
You got it?
Yeah, that's the commentary.
The chart says point of direct realization of emptiness, new generation of ultimate bodhicitta.
What is it?
the same, I guess.
It's very similar to
Just somebody? I think he's at just.
There's different texts circulated, I guess. The one I'm looking at is called Grounds and Paths Salam, which is a commentary to Geshe Ngawang Necklace of Learned Explanations.
Yeah.
So, does anyone have that?
That's
Yeah.
the commentary. We should cover
Yeah. But this commentary has a better translation, I think, of the root text than the other one. That's why I haven't been using the other one. So page 21, the ground of the Arya Bodhisattva, just under that there's a sentence. The italics is exactly the definition from the
Yeah, I think he wrote exactly my text. But what he says? Can you say loudly?
So I said, point of direct realization of emptiness,
That's it.
generation of ultimate bodhicitta.
Yeah. Yeah, you are not complete. You don't
Yeah,
understand.
it's a little bit different. Yeah.
What-
So here it's a clear realization that is sustained by a wisdom realizing, directly realizing emptiness, and by great compassion.
So what the other side?
On page 22 of the text that most people are using, which is the William Levine translation, on the 22 towards the bottom, verse 26 is a clear realization of a bodhisattva superior, which is conjoined with great compassion and the wisdom that realizes emptiness in direct perception.
What?
Yeah, it's just a different translation of the same
I
sentence.
think maybe you guys a little bit with the mud. Most yourself.
That's page 22. No,
That's the path of
text.
Yourself.
That's the, so he's divided between the ordinary bodhisattva paths, and then this is the Arya Bodhisattva path, which is everything above, right? So generally it would count for the path of seeing and anything else above that. So path of seeing, path of meditation, path of no more learning.
Okay, I think maybe here a little bit you guys look a little bit confused. Anyway, 다음 하도 sit-down. 다시 상승생의 사진보다 통합다 고놈이를 하고 통합다 고놈이가 예, 다시 상승 고놈이 있어요.
So the Bodhisattva Arya ground is comprised of both the path of seeing and the path of meditation, both. So
아, 이 나기 아주 사주도다 사주. 사대 고놈이 어떻게 통합다 다 사탐을 제가 찍말.
So, and then within those two, there are the 10 grounds. So the 10 Bodhisattva bhumis. So it's a bit confusing because it also uses the word ground to describe those 10. The Gomlam, the Sachu, Nala Mari.
고놈데 사주디 딱 고놈라 저래서 고놈이 있어. 통합 찍어 말해. 사탐보 이바스나 딱 고놈이 있어. 통합 찍어 통합.
Toma.
지다데 고놈.
Toma Satambo.
야, 도놈이 사탐 찍어 말해. 사탐보 고놈이 있어. 고놈.
Satambo ne.
사탐보 고 가발 찍어리 고놈이 고 찍어. 고놈.
So he's saying that the path of meditation begins from the beginning of the path of seeing. So this is
도놈 되는 사탐보.
the ground of the. This is going to give me a headache. So the first Bodhisattva bhumi, from the beginning of the first Bodhisattva bhumi, you enter into Goma.
야, start beginning 고놈.
Goma. Yeah, I remember this from a previous class. Okay, so the path of seeing is very quick, right?
It's not quick, but it doesn't count to
To the Sachu.
sachu.
Yeah, okay. So the path of seeing may or may not be quick, but either way, it doesn't count as part of the 10 Bodhisattva bhumis.
사탐보 밀가래 사탐보 앞에가서.
Yeah, so the first ground is called, let's see, what's the translation? What do you guys have? Very joyful, something like that. Yeah, very joyful.
This is start to 딱 없는 things. 도놈 찍어 말해.
Okay, so that begins the path of, path of meditation.
Okay?
Very joyful.
But today we are not talking about it, okay? Just leave this, that.
Yeah.
Now today we talk about 도놈.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the path of seeing. So we'll leave aside the path of meditation and these 10 grounds for now and just talk about the path of seeing.
Okay? 다음 도놈 세대. 그럼 도놈 세대 거리 토벌에서 가상 음악이 마음을 납치했어. 아유, 시고.
How do you attain the path of seeing?
I talked before previous time many times.
And,
Remember?
for the
Yeah.
for the hearers and for the Pratyeka Buddhas, we've discussed like how they achieve the path of seeing. Does anyone remember how they achieve it?
You have to achieve the first path of accumulation and the path of preparation, and then you move to the path of change.
That's it.
So, Tango Toglam Togore, and then Yige the Jolam Togore, and then Jolam Jela.
But how you reach? Is it reach?
I think transition.
How you
How do you transition from one to the next?
Taking the realization of the wisdom, understanding emptiness.
Yeah, so the Tony Tope Shirap. Yeah, so directly, not just realizing, because on even the path of preparation, you can have a realization of emptiness via some conceptual medium, but having a direct realization of emptiness is the entrance into the path of seeing.
Okay. 다 돈이 되는 거라 그래. 돈이 되나? 그렇잖아.
He's saying, what is emptiness? So let me explain.
Everybody loves to meditate emptiness, right? Tibetan called 돈이, English called emptiness, right?
Yeah.
Now we say, what is emptiness? Emptiness is 그러니까 다 대받쳐봐. 당장 나도 취탐체 대받쳐봐. 쌍고에 나게.
Okay, so it seems and it appears to us that all phenomenon are truly established.
이게 대바 마치 받으라 돈이었어. 대통별로라 돈이 또 로스.
Okay, so the fact that things are not truly established is emptiness, what we call their emptiness. And the mind which realizes that is the mind realizing emptiness. So this cup is not permanent, therefore the cup is impermanent. This cup is impermanent. So the mind that understands or realizes that this cup is impermanent is a mind realizing the impermanence of this cup. Okay, so when we see things or when things appear to us, they appear as if they are established from their own side. So when we see Geshe-la, he looks like, Geshe-la is there appearing to us as a real thing established over there. Yeah, so he's saying like when you look for Geshe-la, that Geshe-la that looks like there's some real Geshe-la sitting over here, when you search through all his parts, his head, his chest, his arms, his legs, you won't find actually that Geshe-la. So Geshe-la is actually like a collection. So then we might think Geshe-la is a collection. So there still is a Geshe-la, but he's made up of all the parts. So like his head and his legs and his arms and stuff, and all of those parts together as a collection, then we can put the name Geshe-la on that, and that's fine. We think that, right?
Then, if that, then we can cut Geshe-la, this that hand. Geshe-la is right there. It means their hair, right? But anyway, this is more complicated. Anyway, that emptiness means not 나로서 쭉 가르치지 말아야. 런는 좀 봐. 되는 좀 봐. 나게 그래서. no matter multiple, but the multiple, too much is that yeah, everything is multiple. They multiple to below, to below.
Okay, so we can think or we can analyze about things whether they are established truly or established from their own side or established by their own characteristics and all of these different things. And when we find that they are not established from their own side or by their own characteristics or truly established, etc., that is the mind that finds that they are not established that way, is the mind that realizes that they are empty of being established in that way. So the mind which, let's see, the mind to which it seems that things are established truly or established from their own side is the mind which grasps at things as existing truly. So we call that denzin, grasping at, how do we say it? Grasping at true existence, I guess, or grasping at, literally it just means grasping at something as true. Okay, so then we can subdivide this grasping at things as truly existent into two different types. So within the grasping at things as truly existent, we have kundak, which means like, how can I say? Yeah, dependent on some reason. So usually kundak is more intellectually developed. So you think about something and you believe it exists that way. And then the other one is called lenkye, which means like innate. So it's something that naturally happens to us as organisms. It seems that things are truly existent. Has nothing to do with any type of thought process that you've had. It's just there as part of what it is to be alive. Okay. So on the occasion of the path of seeing, you actually abandon or get rid of the intellectual grasping at true existence. So any types of thought processes you have that grasp, that you think about things as existing consciously, that's gone on the path of seeing.
Right? You have that contact.
Do you have that, the intellectual grasping at the truth of things? So he's saying thinking about like individual reasons for things existing in a certain way is an example of that. I don't know, I don't really understand. You understand? So he's saying like when you actually think about, like individually contemplate or consider something, like it appears to be like this. Is it really like this? And based on some kind of reason, you think, yeah, it is. Like that is a real thing or whatever. This is the example of the intellectual grasping at the true existence of things. He's talking too fast.
Even Tibetan people say I talk too fast. Of course, when we talk, maybe together or maybe many people together or when we talk, we think whatever I said is the right. You have some reason, right? Then someone against you, oh, this is not right, you are wrong. This is the right. And everybody has their own reason. Then everybody knows something. No,
appearance.
Or appearance. Appearance, whatever object, whatever appears for me, it is right. I see very well. I see, exactly, That comes.
Yeah, so this is these type of false appearance is an example of the intellectual grasping at the true existence of things. So I think it's clear that at least I have that. So
yeah, everybody has. This everybody has. Don't think all the have that, Now,
okay. So on the occasion of the path of seeing, this disappears. This intellectual grasping at the true existence of things disappears.
Okay.
Okay, so he's saying like the mind which realizes emptiness is a mind which also sees things unerroneously or unmistakably. And the mind which sees things mistakenly, like in an erroneous fashion, is another way of saying the mind which grasps at the true existence of things. So when you're on the path of seeing, the mind which sees things mistakenly is lessened until it disappears completely for the so for the intellectual grasping at the true existence of things is lessened by the mind that sees things as they actually are.
For example, if you guys maybe new people come here, we say Tibetan talk about West Pumba.
Yeah.
If you don't know Pumba, it comes a little, some special, what we call digital cup, right? It's a little some special thing. You think, oh, maybe the Tibetan called the West. Maybe this is the West.
Yeah.
Some new people, it's possible, right? They think, oh yeah, I heard the West, Lord. Maybe this is the West, some, funny looking, Lord,
Yeah, it has various pictures and drawings on it.
Then you have
So a person who, so the example that he's giving is like a person who comes who is not familiar with language or whatever, they might see the cup and think like, oh, I've heard about a vase before and I've never seen a strange cup like this, but perhaps this is what is called a vase. So they may mistake like this is a vase because it has these interesting drawings on it and a strange lid that you don't normally see. So then they have a mind which realizes or grasps this thing as being a vase. Oh yeah. So he's talking about the spout, like that a vase, at least the Tibetan vase has a little spout thing that comes up.
Yeah. Very similar. Then during that time, then one other person said, no, this is no vase. Vase is that. They show real vase here. During that time,
so then at the time that somebody corrects them and shows them a real vase to compare to the thing that they have been calling a vase, the person has a mind realizing that this is not a vase. So as the mind realizing that this is not a vase arises, the mind thinking that this is a vase disappears at the same time.
Okay.
So in the same way as you generate the mind that realizes appearances erroneously, unmistakably, the mind that grasps at them mistakenly and grasps at things as truly existent decreases or disappears as the mind realizing them erroneously arises. So I think so it's not possible for a person, a single person within a single continuum, within one continuum of awareness or whatever, to experience both the mind grasping at things as truly existent and the mind realizing that things are not truly existent. It's not possible to have both of those experiences at one time.
Right. For example, one person has the part of mind. Or sometimes some Western people, the Tibetan monks with a very long robe, they're female. Right? That kind of one person has mind. For example, Geshe-la.
Yeah, so a mind which thinks that a person, like for example, he's giving the example of someone who maybe saw from a distance or from behind or something somehow obscured where you couldn't tell clearly if it's a male or female. They may, I think, like that's a woman. There's the same person won't have at the exact same moment the mind thinking that's a woman and the mind thinking that's a man. It doesn't happen at the same moment. So when you look at him and you think, oh, he's a monk, you can't have at the exact same time a mind that thinks, oh, he's not a monk.
Right? Therefore,
so therefore, in a similar fashion, in the same moment that you, the mind, yeah. So at the same mind, at the same moment that the mind that realizes that things are not truly established arises, the mind that grasps the things as truly established diminishes. So what's the problem with the mind grasping at things as truly existent? Okay, so the problem with this mind is that the mind itself, Okay, so the problem with this mind is that it takes an object, particularly like the netsu, like the final nature of that object, I guess, like what the object ultimately is, which is not that way, to be that way. It grasps it as being a way that it is not.
We follow the command. The mind, well, what we follow mind, this mystic mind. We don't know this, it is mystic mind. We follow the mystic mind, then we do a lot of mistakes. Then always problem coming. Right?
Was that clear? So, okay, so you have, to begin with, you have this error, which is a deep and fundamental perceptual error that he's talking about. The way that things appear, the final nature of that thing, just how it appears, like the actual nature of it, appears to your mind to be a way that it is not. And your mind grasps it that way. So if you follow a mind that grasps things in the wrong way, like the objects of perception that he's talking about, in the wrong way from the beginning, following from that, then all kinds of errors come up, all kinds of problems, because the fundamental, error of perception that's very deep at the very beginning is there. So if you have that type of error, everything subsequent to that, choices you make or reactions you have to the object of perception are going to be faulty.
Has some beautiful one.
So for example, I think for Buddhists, right?
Yeah.
Danzin, right? Yeah,
So
so grasping at the things as truly real is like a more general way of saying this, but he's giving a specific example of that, which is grasping at the self. So based on the grasping at the self and under the influence of grasping at the self, we have all kinds of ideas like he was saying, I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I'm right, you know. Looking in the mirror. So we do all kinds of, you know, things in particular to make ourselves look better by looking at our reflection in the mirror. So we think so wonderfully about ourselves.
Then we go to our maybe this country is now well known that somebody says, oh, you're not very handsome, not very beautiful. We are unhappy, right? Because we are very strong. What's that? Thousand.
Yeah. So because we have a very strong grasping at the self, which is just a particular example of grasping at something as truly existent, then when you encounter people outside who tell you otherwise, then what you think about yourself, it's unpleasant. So generally we can say that when you have grasping at things as truly existent, what follows from that is grasping at the self. What follows from grasping at the self is pride, and what follows from pride is like anger and jealousy and all of those other things. So we wander around in samsara. Yeah, so we should have very good meditation on emptiness. So if you just understand emptiness even just a little bit. Yeah, so emptiness doesn't mean nothingness. So thinking that, so when we all think that everything that appears to us, however it appears, is not mistaken, this is a problem. Yeah, so this is a problem. Appearances, like all of us, whatever appears.
Yeah.
Appearances just as they appear. Non-nashi. Okay, so thinking that things are, sorry, I misunderstood between the two words, drup and tulp. So drup is the other. So thinking that things are, established exactly as they appear, this is a mistake. Right? Yeah. So we might say that things are not established as they appear. Yeah. 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 So we might say that things are not established as they appear, but this doesn't mean that they are not established at all. Right? Yeah, never mind. So like they're not truly established, but they're not non-existent. So it's important to distinguish.
다 매치가 주로 남배가 내가 맞춰서 다 동반이 나가도 왔어. 여만 나가도 왔어. 근데 무슨 누워 매치 기지 되나? 또 남배 내가 맞춰버리. 내가 맞춰고 요 말했어. 나쁘게 왔어. 아니 내가 맞춰고 누워 안 그런가? 이거 말하나? 내가 맞춰서 대 말했어. 이제 가자고. 됐지? Anyway, okay.
Sorry.
No. If some person say or ask, your Buddhism always talk about not existent,
No, not truly established.
not truly established.
Yeah.
But he said, oh, look here, cup, here's Devra, here's, Eric. We can see how you say that. And he said, oh, we are not talking about that. He said, not existent inherently.
Yeah.
Correct?
Rangitsini.
Rangitsini
Rangitsini.
말했어.
So-
재밌지 봤어요? 소소한 너무 좋고 말했어.
Okay, so he's saying, like, just to rephrase and
Okay, yeah.
clarify. So he's saying, like, when you may talk with somebody and they'll say, oh, you Buddhists say, like, nothing is truly established or whatever, but, you know, like, I'm here and the cup is here and things are here. And then you have to say, no, that's not what we mean. We don't mean that the things don't exist. We are saying that as they don't exist as they appear. So you have to distinguish between the two. And then the DJ no, she
나는 다른 틀리죠 말했어. 나는 전날은 틀리죠.
yeah, Rangitsini. So they're not established by inherently. They're not inherently established in the way that they appear.
Anyway, everybody like meditation emptiness. 아 가지 마지. 나다 저 좋고 말했어 뭐 그래서 가지. 어머니 겁나? 알아서 나는 좋고 많이 주말로 많이 가지. 이제 납그래서 뭐 많이 가지.
아,
주마.
Yeah.
나 미리 주말에. 야, there's nothing to it. 주마 많이 가지. 이거는 수술 생기. 나와 좋고 말했어. 대얘 좋고 내쁘게. 진센 성을 먹고 따네. 검정나 다 또만이 성파했어.
Okay, so generally when we meditate on emptiness, we meditate on things not being established as they appear. But this doesn't mean to meditate on things as being entirely false. So it's not like there's nothing there or that, you know, everything is wrong that, you know, that's there. You have to use a lot of particular types of reasoning, and you have to analyze from many different directions in order to have a good meditation on emptiness.
Okay? Everybody meditation emptiness, right? Yeah, everybody. It's good. It's good lot of minutes. Yeah.
Geshe-la, can you give an example of the mind that realizes emptiness intellectually? Other than in meditation, as you go through the day, like looking at that cup, how would that mind, would the mind look at the cup and say, oh, someone made that cup and it's made from pottery, and I see the place where it was made, and man took it here in the truck. Do you see all those things when you look at the cup? Or do you just say, that's not as I really, as it appears? What does the person who sees intellectually emptiness? What do they see?
This is like Tachego.
조금.
Yeah, Chego.
조금 힘들었거든. 똑같대. 그냥 나빠다 그랬어. 그죠?
Yes, he's saying you're right, like what you're saying.
조금 힘든 거죠. 야, 깝고 달 줘 말아왔어. 나온 것이 짜는데 기어를 댕겨라 거서 미션을 누워리 깔로 치아 tumsonna. 깝 저도 때 먹고 그냥 줬어.
So you have to use like you were saying, kind of reasonings to look at this cup, and you say like, okay, this cup, is it truly established or not? And then you think like, no, well, this cup was made at some point by somebody with some machine, and then it was like colored and painted in this way and made to look like that. So it's not like a real cup that exists by itself.
Is that just done in meditation, or is that done
Yeah, he's describing, I mean, I don't know how to say what you are saying, intellectually realizing emptiness, but usually there's two types of meditation. There's Chegom and Johom. Yeah, so there's like analytical meditation where you intellectually like contemplate some object of some type, and the other one which is like once you have a realization, you focus on that, you know, and kind of build it up. So he's describing the intellectual meditation.
뭐냐면 조금씩 따지지. 따지 제위적으로 다그 제가 게 뭔가 때는 저 마도 다 너무 좀 처럼 모두 선물로 되어 있나? 다 디갈 못하네 something마다 다로 샤워. 저는 조금씩.
So he's saying basically you use analysis to do analytical meditation. So you, for example, with this cup, you think about all of the causes and conditions that come into producing this cup, that there's actually a huge complex of things. You know, it looks like a simple cup that's real in that moment of time or whatever, but really there's all these causes and conditions behind it. Once you have a mind that gets it, like this thing is not truly established from going through these reasoning, then you settle on that, and then you enter into yeah, how do we say in English? There's analytical meditation and
Placement or stabilizing?
yeah, stabilizing meditation, yeah, or literally like staying meditation. So yeah, so once you have the mind that understands this thing is not truly established, then you settle on that understanding, and then you can enter into like the placement meditation or the settling meditation without having to use a lot of different analytical reasons or whatever.
So then when you come out of the meditation, when you see a cup the next time, that meditation has already informed your mind. So you see the cup that's not really existing. Because your meditation has already changed your mind.
So between meditation.
Yeah.
Post-meditation.
Yeah, post-meditation. I forget the word for that. J-pop? J-pop?
Yeah, J-pop.
Yeah, so the gom J-pop. Dine kirang kare cup dengi madruga gom che J-la.
제파 세대 무슨 와? 다 제파 세대 가는 값이 다 잡아줘 버리는 거지. 가르잖아. 아, 땡데. 땡데도 왔어. 땡다. 땡주다. 땡주. 내가 말해 땡데 거지. 땡자고.
Yeah.
이제 남이 다 땡데 따라 땡데 다 값이 다 잡아줘 버리는 거 선물로 제파. 딱 제가 딱
Tikti tabla. Dine gom J-la. Dine kirang kare cup di deni madruga gom che J-la. Dine kirang yakyar cup toma. Dine kirang hakusong di dengi madruga. Dengi madruga.
양쪽으로 껍데기로 나만 그래다. 아주 뭐 다시 제사로 왔어. 아니 다시 제사하면서 때 하.
Dine gom kirang gom chena. Dine jo gom chena. Cup di dengi madruga. Jo gom chena. Dine gom J-la. Kirang cup yakyar tongdu. Dine kirang.
양쪽 대마로 한 거지. 양쪽 대마로 한 거지.
Yeah, so he's saying like even though you do the analytical meditation, like this cup is like doesn't exist truly, and then you do some stabilizing meditation on that for a while. When you get up from meditation and you see a cup again, the cup still appears to be truly existing. It appears again as truly existing.
나 돈이 또 미샤죠 생각을 대마로 한 거지. 돈이 또 샤죠 생각을 대마로 한 거지.
Wow. So he's saying like the appearance as being truly existent, that happens even for bodhisattvas who have realized emptiness. Have. Yeah. So the bodhisattvas who have realized emptiness, their things still appear as if truly existent to them.
나도 가는 뭐 많이 나도 한 강의하고 그러고 가는 뭐 많이 강의.
양결수. 강의.
뭐 말로 왔어.
Yeah.
저도 강의하고 그러고.
Yeah. So this is an example from used in a lot of philosophical texts or whatever. So there's the snow-covered mountains or whatever over there in the distance. They appear to be blue, Like if you're far enough away, even though they're white, because they're covered with snow, they look blue from a distance.
Not choice, not choice. Not choice.
Chok
Chok is what?
I don't know. Chok.
Chok is what? Chok is, it's okay.
Yeah, it's just
I don't know.
just the way it appears, I think.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that you really believe it's blue.
Yeah. Now everybody say, oh, everybody say, oh, what's that?
The snow mountain.
Snow mountain is blue. Say, no, this is not blue, this is white. Sometimes we have some condition coming. What's that? It's blue, the blue. You get hello.
Yeah. So that's like, for example, that's an example of how it is for Bodhisattvas. Yeah. So basically, even though you have the perception that the snow mountain way over there is blue, you don't actually believe that it's blue. You don't have the problem of actually mistaking like the snow is blue. That's some strange blue snow over there. Like you know that it's just an illusion. But it still appears to be blue. So I think in this way it's...
Therefore also Bodhisattva was there, understand emptiness directly.
Yeah.
But there also a prayer. But it's
so between the 5th and the 10th
I don't remember.
Bodhisattva bhumis, somewhere on there, the appearance of things as truly existent ceases. Somewhere on there.
Not sure.
So then the Bodhisattva will see the mountain, but he'll see it white.
Sa gu dan chu, tene Bodhisattva di nangwa dema madruga nangwa yomare.
Dema madruga to.
Dema druga nangwa yomare. Yor.
Ta gojo kanaya chemi. Sa gojo chile yola.
Yor.
Yor.
Druga dan chu ba yor.
Yeah, he kari chile yola.
Sanjila.
Sanjila.
So he's saying now, like even on the 9th and 10th, there 9th and 10th Bodhisattva bhumis, there is still some appearance, like things are real. But for a Buddha there isn't. But I think on those, like the specifics of it are more difficult. Anyway, and then Sangyela, the Kangri Tona, Tajribo Kangri Tona, and then Mombo Drabo Tongi together.
They Tona, Sanjay Tona. Sanjay Kari Tona, no Tona Jimba Tona.
So yeah, he said Buddha doesn't have any mistakes. So if he sees the snow mountain, he's not going to have illusion even.
Okay. Yeah.
So if everything is dependent on something else, and the cup does not have is dependent of inherent existence, empty of inherent existence. So then, if all phenomena and all self is like that, then Buddha's dharma also must be, empty of inherent existence.
Yeah.
So if Buddha's dharma is empty of inherent existence, what does it depend upon?
Depends Samchala.
He said in dependence on sentient beings, Buddhas appear.
No sentient beings, we cannot say Buddha.
No, I'm talking about Buddha's dharma, not Buddha himself.
Sanjay Kichu.
Sanjay Chu, Namu Chu Maiba, Magiwa Giva. So
he's saying that this doesn't really depend on the Buddha. This is like virtue and non-virtue.
Yeah. Non-virtue depends virtue. Virtue depends non-virtue. For example, short depends tall. Tall depends short. Fat depends thin. Thin depends fat. Everything is what's that? Interdependent?
Yeah, interdependent.
Right? Even we say sweet, sour. Not sweet, not sour. If we have existed sweet, then we say, oh, this is sour. All things we really check the dependent, what's it, interdependent. If they are beautiful, agree, if some is not very beautiful, they say, oh, this is beautiful. Some is little, not beautiful, they say, oh, agree. They are not thing we call.
There's no independent thing, no non-interdependent thing, basically.
And then the patients in Dhamma Mata Tenley is popular. Repeat. Dhamma Mata Tenley.
Yeah, Dhamma Mata
Tenley.
Yeah. So the thing is not truly existent because it's interdependent. Because it's established by dependent co-origination.
Okay?
So you are, I don't understand your question. You are asking Buddha and Dharma, like somehow those things should be inherently existent in order to perform whatever function they have?
No. What I'm saying is look, if everything is dependent on something, right? So we all know that's, okay, fine, explain. All right, so that's the dependence of phenomena, the dependence on self.
Yeah.
Right, I get that. Now, if one were to say that self, if Buddha's Dharma would not be self, so Buddha's Dharma perhaps is phenomena. All right, other than self, everything would be phenomena, right? So now, if I say that what would be the things, like the cup is dependent on sand or whatever, paint or whatever it is, right? So Buddha's Dharma also, his teachings also, must be depending on something. So what is that so when you say virtue and non-virtue, so like your answer was like virtue and non-virtue. So I don't understand how Buddha's Dharma is dependent on virtue and non-virtue.
Buddha's Dharma is colors, not patterns. Dharma is colors.
So what is the Dharma? Like, what do you call the Dharma?
His teachings. What he believes in.
Sangyeki Sumchui, Yamina Sangyeki, Yijingi.
Dharma says Chukunju was. Chukunju.
Yeah.
Chukunju said the number.
Yeah. So the Dharma jewel is the path.
Dharma said the Dharma jewel was. When it's Sangyeki Chu anything, Dharma was. The Dharma the Chukunju was.
So he's saying like the Buddha's Dharma is the Dharma jewel. Like, and the Dharma jewel is the path. So how does this path come about? Okay, so so this path comes about when the mind that wishes to be free from samsara or thinks samsara is something disgusting or reviling develops renunciation and starts moving away from samsara. Then there's a path. Okay, so because there is samsara, there is the mind that wishes to achieve liberation from samsara. Samsara is suffering, or samsara has suffering, either way. So in relation to that suffering, there is a mind which desires to be free from suffering. Okay, so when you have this mind, day or night, that wishes to be free from the suffering which we call samsara, then you have the path. You have entered the path. So then he's saying, like, when you have the mind that grasps at things as being truly existent, and then you will have, in the same way that you had before the suffering of samsara, and then in relation to that you have a mind that wishes to get out of the suffering of samsara. When you realize you have a mind that grasps at things as truly existent, then you also have another mind that wishes to see things as they really are. And when you have a mind that no longer grasps at things as being truly existent, then you've entered the Arya path. So these paths that he's talking about, this is really what Dharma means, actually.
Real Dharma path.
Yeah.
Karna, when we reach, when we got or we reach, Madhu Jela Tenley, Dharma the Namjela, Madhu Dumara Tartu.
Yeah, so when we namkyen, like when we experience
No. Yeah, Namjela, Nam, when we reach, when we enter this path, then we free from samsara or suffering.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
That was very clear. You guys understand that?
right.
When we enter this path or when we reach this path, then we become free from suffering. This is the Dharma, the path that leads away from.
Real Dharma is compassion, bodhicitta, or path.
The ngejung
Or Minju.
ngejung jangsen.
Yeah, Minju Shansi, Yata Tawa.
Yeah.
But that Minju the Shansi is real Dharma.
Yeah. So he's saying like the real Dharma is the renunciation, bodhicitta, and the perfect view, the view of emptiness.
Okay. Right?
And then, do you want to ask more?
True coach of the real medicine. You know, we have daughter, nursing medicine. We have daughter, he helps you how what medicine you want. Nurse you give you medicine. Who very free from sickness? Medicine. You take the medicine, then you take all things go. Otherwise, doctor cannot. Maybe they do, operation. I don't know. Usually, the nurse give you medicine. This will as a good coach.
So the nurse is like the sangha jewel.
Right? The daughters and Buddha jewel. The real Dharma is medicine. Then now we to Buddha can teach for us. Then Dharma was sangha jewel help to us to study Dharma practice. Now real Dharmas, you realize it also. Chief also. Chirangitela, Shancho Kusanga, Nijela, Tony to the Low, Lam, Chirangitela, Kajela, to do Chinata, do not travel.
So you have to generate within your own mind, within your own continuum, this renunciation, bodhicitta, and the view of emptiness. And then when you generate that in your own mind, you're moving on the path and leaving behind the suffering of samsara.
Okay? Are you got a little bit? Little think about, little in contemplative of investigation. But now time's gone, but we didn't go through that, but it's more important. Because something idea, otherwise we oh, I'm better emptiness. But many people have no idea.
Yeah.
But then next time we go to again, then we have to how you enter the path, then the antidote, there are a lot of details, okay? Then a little bit investigation. Okay? Thank you. Now we stop. Maybe finish the dedication, maybe Eric. Can you do?